Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 finally arrived in January, and let me tell you, there was a lot to take in and explore. We learned so much about everything, it kind of feels like there's little left to solve and the rest will be answered in the possible fourth and final chapter. However, that doesn't mean we can sleep on the obvious details. From creepy radio transmissions to ominous messages written on the walls, Mob has given us everything we need in our Theorist Toolkit to solve one of the biggest mysteries of Poppy Playtime. The biggest mystery, besides the identity of the prototype, is our identity, the player. Previously, I speculated we might be Elliot Ludwig in a different body, since we know Playtime Co. has the technology to move brains and nervous systems into other vessels, thus discovering immortality. But what if all the evidence between all three chapters has been telling us who we were all along? Well, let's find out and jump into it. From the first chapter, we know we are a previous employee of Playtime Co., and the mysterious letter calls us back to find the employees trapped within its walls. In Chapter 2, Mommy Longlegs recognizes that we used to work there.
But you worked here.
Meaning we knew about the bigger bodies and at least made our way down to the game station on occasion. Chapter 3 gives us a bit more of a grim look at our involvement with the ongoings of the factory. The weight of it all lies within Home Sweet Home while we are having vivid nightmares and breathing in catnap's red smoke. It begins with the writing on the floor. Happy and fun. Why was it done? All the writings throughout Home Sweet Home asking us, why would we return? Telling us to go home. Coming back was a mistake. As we walk down the haunting halls, we come across a few radio news broadcasts detailing a macabre discovery of a child's body stuffed in a duffel bag inside the estate of the esteemed and mysterious Elliot Ludwig.
Local authorities report that the body of a young boy has been found on the estate of the late Elliot Ludwig, an esteemed toy maker and originator of the Playtime Company.
As the nightmare continues, we come across a creepy radio that plays a message backwards.
You know, let's in 1995. You were supposed to be here. Why weren't you here? You missed the event. You missed the meeting. You missed the party. You have no right to be here. 1995.
I find your presence intrusive. After all this time you return. You come in here and you kill and murder. You pillage and destroy. Your presence was demanded 10 years ago and you didn't show up.
Continuing down a long hall, we reach a lone office. The writing on the board. Guilt haunts you. Finally, a VHS tape inside an infirmary plays like a normal new hire orientation tape that slowly pokes and prods at our guilt.
Greetings, employees, and welcome to your first day here in Playtime. So should you come back tomorrow feeling unhappy for where you are or what you've done, your conscience finally getting the better of you, may you descend into the dark and the dust, finding all that awaits you are incomprehensible horrors.
So what does this tell us about who we are? We were an active participant in the mutilation and torture of the children, assisting in turning them into giant toys for labor within the factory. Children that would never grow up, have a family, experience life. Eventually, the guilt became too much to bear and we left Playtime Co., probably the day before the hour of joy. That is the meeting we missed. The party, the big event. That is how we survived the darkest day at the factory. Others we come across in the factory are surprised to see us return, surprised that we are alive.
Wait, I recognize you. Yes, I remember. You used to work here. How are you? Alive.
We were supposed to die on that fateful day, but we weren't there. It explains why we don't know where everyone is or what the hour of joy really was, and why Poppy has to explain everything. So what about the news reports? Well, I'm not sure about when we would have heard this. Radio news reports were common from the 1930s through the 1960s, but as televisions began to populate homes, it began to die out. While we still have radio news to this day like NPR, most people through the decades since the 60s got their news through the TV and nowadays the internet. It's a bit hard to determine when we would have heard this report as it happened after Elliot Ludwig's death, and we still do not know when he died or when the Bigger Bodies Initiative began. The only thing I can determine is that we are dreaming about this, which means we heard the report and it left an impact on us, feeding into our guilt. Now, there is still the possibility we are Elliot Ludwig in a different body and Playtime Co. is just saying he died to cover up their shady practices. Though there is one other person we, the player, could be. Someone who has shown us their love for children and has been with us since the beginning. Stella Graber. In Chapter 1, we get to listen in on Stella Graber's interview tape, where she reminisces on her childhood, playing with toys.
Playing with toys when I was young was so magical. I could go straight from my bedroom floor to anywhere in the world. It was such a great feeling.
She wishes she could go back, stay a child forever. She talks about how adults are still children at heart, but that we grow old and die.
But your body just gets older and older, and then you die.
In Chapter 2, we don't get any tapes, but we can hear her friendly voice walking us through the game station. A thing I want to note here is every time we hear Stella's voice, she's hopeful and optimistic, kind and positive, unlike Leith and Harley. Those two come off cold and disconnected. In the department report on catnap from the ARG, despite the positive results he has had on the operation side of the play care, Stella is the only one of the three that does not like the idea of using catnap in the play care. She knew he would terrify the children. Half of them were terrified. More than one burst into tears. I can't say I didn't expect this. Begrudgingly, she admits catnap has had a positive impact on operations, but says, I still have reservations about how he is used. Stella doesn't like the idea of using the red smoke to put the children to sleep, as it's like drugging them and causing them to have the most horrific night terrors that will haunt them for the remainder of their lives. Harley and Leith only care about the results, but Stella cares more about the well-being of the kids. Last, there is a pink VHS tape found in Stella's office, a recording of an incident regarding a family ready to adopt a child. Stella starts off welcoming, taking pride in her work running the play care, excited for the family to be giving a child a home.
It's a truly magical place. You open that door the first time and you just know. I understand you want to give Jeremy that home? Yes, and we would like to adopt. Amazing!
Stella's tone suddenly shifts as she readies the paperwork for the family. Always friendly and warm, we then hear Stella's voice drop into one of concern and sadness.
Oh. What? Well, it appears there's been some complications. Complications? What kind of complications? I don't know. The form says testing. What does that mean? I don't. I'm sorry.
She even seems shocked and disheartened hearing Jeremy was being put in for testing. Stella realizes Jeremy was just moments away from having a home and a loving family, only for it to be taken away at the last second. This might have been the moment Stella realized what they were doing was wrong. She thought at first turning children into toys would allow them to stay young forever. Once she saw the reality that her and the others were actually destroying lives, she left. Stella has been haunted all these years by her guilt. She went into hiding only to be invited back by a mysterious letter. We are Stella Graber, returning to find our co-workers and reliving our career path at Playtime Co. We now see the results of our actions. The children turned toys, killing and devouring everyone we knew, and then being trapped in the factory for nearly a decade in the dark. Catnap might remember us as being kind to him when he was Theo, which might be why he doesn't attack us right away, giving us the opportunity to leave. And when we don't, he grows angry and tries to kill us himself. Stella is the only character besides Elliot Ludwig that has been consistent through each chapter, the only one whose character is revealed to us in detail starting with her interview tape. Stella loved the children and wanted to bring them joy and make the play care as home-like as possible, and if she could make childhood last forever, she would. And she did. We realized what we did was wrong. and we have returned to find our co-workers and clear us of our sins. But that's just a speculation. I can see where there are holes in this theory, and we don't know what kind of twists Mob will bring in the next chapter. It feels like chapter 4 might be the last one based off of what Poppy tells us.
Catnap is coming. He's the final obstacle the prototype has placed against us.
I hope the game will end in the innovation sector of the factory, since it seems that is where all the ideas for toys and experiments are curated, and I hope our identity is finally revealed, because it seems that whoever we are, we played a major role and we should have died in the hour of joy. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Give me your thoughts. Do you think Stella might be the main playable character, or do you think we're someone else we haven't met yet? Maybe we're Harley Sawyer or Leith Pierre. Maybe we're Elliot. Who knows? I think there's a lot of options here. So yeah, let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you all in the next video.